Hi, so I'm going to teach you guys how to play PvP. I will show you my credentials really quick. So, my win rate is not the best, but I'm not. This is the first time I've ever really played PvP in any game, really. So, I think that shows that anyone can do it. But you just need to know a few things, and you should be a little prepared before you get into it. First of all, pick a weapon set. Okay, so martial arts I chose, I didn't really want to do anything crazy. You can mix and match for PvP because you're essentially, when you're picking your weapons, you want to use ones that you're like, okay, these complement each other, or these are both like really powerful weapons in PvP, or something like that. So, for example, the weapons that I use, it's all right. Okay, so it's Chinese players think it's just like it's fine. It's like average is what they think. Um, but it's I think it's right now in our current meta. I think it's pretty strong just because Heaven Quaker Spear is really strong by itself, and Strategic Sword is also really strong. The person who is currently number one on the leaderboard does use Strategic Sword and Nameless Spear, not Heaven Quaker. Nameless Spear is extremely powerful right now because there's a few things going for it. One, it has a stun. I will show you that really quick. So this stun right here, which is a 12-second stun, and you have to dodge this. So you have to dodge this. You can't let this hit you because once you're stunned, they're gonna start comboing you. So there's that, and then some other. So the good weapons for PvP, I would say, are the spears and the swords, and then also Infernal Twin Blades. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can play the others if you want, but I think some of the other weapon sets have very glaring flaws. And for example, the Vanis and Umbrella. So the Umbrella, basically, you're using it for the stun, but you can dodge the stun really easily. Once you see it wind up, wait a second and then dodge, and then or not a second, but like you wait for the projectile to leave the yeah, wait for the let's see. So when it does the spin and then the projectile goes out, you can dodge then because the projectile takes a while to get to you, so you can dodge that very easily. um because that's pretty much what they rely on. A lot of people don't know how to deal with it, and that's why you can see them still in like legend or mythic even. But I think once you reach legend, they are a little bit better at it. So the real MVP of the umbrella fan combo would be the fan because of the E, which is it can be hard to predict sometimes. I've lost to a few umbrella fan users because of the umbrella, or not umbrella, sorry, it's probably because of the fan. So I would I wouldn't say like don't use any of the other combinations. You can use them if you want, but I will just say that they do have like you can just block it basically. So but that's you can say that about everything. You can block anything. So um it is up to you what you want to do. You just need to know how to play around your weapon. Like I would say if you become comfortable with the whatever weapon set you're using, I would choose it for PvP too, just because you know how to play using it. Um, and then see how it interacts with the other person. Because essentially you just want to try and dodge or block their attacks, right? And then see if you can hit yours. Which you have to, you do have to kind of play around with the fan to potentially hit. So you have to play mind games a little bit in the upper bracket, but lower ones I don't think it really matters. Then for I think tank can also be really good. I've seen quite a few tank players end up in Mythic. So, but there is the glaring flaw. There is if you know how to deal with it, it becomes like kind of bad. But I would say most people don't know how to deal with it. So for now, I would say any weapon set is essentially do whatever you want. Just learn how to play it and learn what the combos are, etc. I can't tell you what those are. You have to search for those yourself. I'm sure there are some YouTube videos for them. Since the only thing I know is the strategic sword and having Quaker Spear, I don't know how to use any other weapons. So, uh, there's that. And then for inner ways, you need to make sure you're using the correct ones. So there are a few that are PvP specific that I will point out. For example, there is evasive charge, so that's why I have this instead of the insightful strike, which is part of the actual set, right? Morale Chant you have to use for every build. Like it's just you just can't not use it. Like this is like the best general inner way in the game, and they still use it in CN. Like they're still using it in every build basically. So always use this, and then you want to use whatever gold skill, gold inner way is for your weapon if they have one, and then whatever. Okay, so this I guess it'll depend on whatever your second weapon is. So strategic sword, because like, so both strategic sword and having quicker spear, their inner ways specifically buff them really hard. Like Wolf Chaser's art gives it hyper armor in tier 3, so it is incredibly good because of that. And then this one also, I believe, affinity hit, high bleed damage, yeah. And then it restores endurance, which is really good. So that's what I would do for my builds, right? And then evasive charge. So this is a general. This means general. It can be used for anything. So this one, because you will do a lot of dodging, I promise you. You will learn to dodge and block once you start playing PvP. And endurance is what you need to keep an eye on, because if your endurance is close to breaking, you kind of lost that round basically, or depending on how that works, you know, if you already used your get out of jail free card, which is the Serene Breeze Mystic skill, if you did that already and you're in and they're comboing you and you're kind of stun locked, right? You're kind of it's kind of over basically. You're probably gonna lose. So that's why you want to make sure your endurance, you can recover your endurance. And then this, once you get, see, after, and then you even start restoring HP and stuff. So I would say that it's like, it's not like super hard to do a perfect dodge. You'll do it accidentally all the time. I would say when you're playing. So that's why I use this, because the amount of times I've won just because I perfect dodge and restored my endurance so they couldn't execute me anymore, like that, like the amount of times is crazy. So it's really good. So you can choose that, or you can choose Bitter Seasons, which is more of a DPS. I think people use this with Twin Blades potentially. That makes sense to me, because you do deal a lot of hits, and then, you know, this stacks. This will add up. You'll eventually hit that 10%. So I believe that's what most Twin Blade user. Well, I would check what your build is supposed to look like. So there's already builds for each PvP set that people have thought of. So I would look for a guide and see like what people are using. But, you know, you can also look at these yourselves and figure out, oh, maybe I want this. But yeah, so there's that. There's Vital Leech, which is also really good because whenever you do an execution, you restore HP. This is super good because, you know, the more HP you have, the better. And then Fury Harvest, I would say is probably, in my opinion, second after, or I would say this and these two are equal to each other. Because mystic skills are all the rage in PvP. You pretty much rely on them, I would say, because you need them to pretty much do anything. So, um, I would, if you're gonna, if you have to choose like, your morale chance gonna be there no matter what, and then the other two are probably your weapon specific inner ways, and then the fourth one I would choose between these two usually, unless there's a specific guide that says otherwise. Um, so there's that, and then for mystic skills, so like I said, they're very important. I'll explain each one. These are the ones I use, and I believe they are the best ones. You'll probably see some people use this cloud steps. They're trolling. It's really bad. You are in the air too long, and it is easily blocked or deflected even, and only deflect if you are confident that you can hit it. Otherwise, don't deflect, just block. But when you block, you do like a in PvP when you block, it'll give you an option to, I believe it's called divine counter. So yeah, you'll do a divine counter, which interrupts anyone that like can interrupt any combo or whatever. So they're basically giving you a free chance to deal damage to them. So just don't use this ever. But for the others, so Meridian Touch is something that is very. It's like you use this at the when someone's like. I would say the best use for it is when someone is near the end of their endurance or chi or whatever, because this game calls it different things all the time, but you use that and they're already like at the end, and to break their endurance bar or their chi bar, and then you can immediately press the execute button afterwards. So you'll just teleport right there. So because you're already teleporting there, because you don't see, this is what it does. So yeah, you'll teleport over to them. So that's what you usually want to use it for. You can also throw it out whenever, because it doesn't cost anything. And it's not a high cooldown. And then the other ones that are really important are Drunken Poet and Dragon's Breath. If you don't have these, you should try to find them. There are guides on where to find them. Drunken Poet, you basically just need to get drunk. And then get drunker and drunker until you learn the skill. So, essentially, when you start the match, you want to use the skill so that you drink, so that you're intoxicated. And then that makes both of these skills. Once you're intoxicated, you can do the fast version of both of these skills. So make sure once you see like the bar at the bottom showing that you're not intoxicated anymore, you take another drink so that you don't take forever to use Dragon's Breath, because you want to be able to have it go out really quick. Because both Dragon's Breath and Drunken Poet give you hyper armor, so you can spam those buttons to get out of a combo, essentially, or to, I guess, to break out of a combo, because you're not really going to get out of it, because once you use it, you can dodge backwards or something like that. And how to do that would be, so with Dragon's Breath, the moment it hits them, so it deals a dot damage, press deflect so that it cancels the animation, and then you can use your weapon skills now, or try to start your own combo, or run away for a second or dodge away, and then try do your little chicken dance with each other again, because there's a lot of neutral time until someone makes a move. I usually try to make a move myself, but it's whatever your weapon is, you can figure out what the best approach would be. Then there's Soaring Spin. this is just deals a lot of damage, and it also does damage, or sorry, does healing reduction. So useful against some people who are for some reason using a healing weapons for PvP, which I've encountered too. Was beat by one who was spamming parry like crazy, so that was my fault. But I didn't really realize what type of player I was dealing with until it was too late. But there's that, and then also it does deal a massive amount of damage, and it doesn't cost that much vitality either. So I wouldn't really use it that often though. This is something that I don't use as often, but is good to have on hand. Leaping Toad is also another skill that is essentially you use the first part and then you animation cancel using your deflect. So that the first jump, because that applies the poison on them, and then you're good. And then the poison can disrupt the other person, so it's a good skill. So I usually spam either this or I spam this when I look at my bar and I realize, oh shoot, I don't have intoxication on, so it'll take forever to actually use. It's really dangerous to take forever to use these other two skills, right? So yeah, I would spam this. This also gives hyper armor, and then Serene Breeze is what you use to get out of everything, basically. So automatically break control. 10 seconds continuously. I mean, this usually doesn't happen, but I would press it. If you suspect they have an infinite, or they have like a combo that is gonna last way too long, just use it. Don't hold it. Really, it might be a good idea to hold it, but if once you use it, just get out of the range straight up. I would do that, and then go back into a neutral state, and then try again, essentially, like the next round. Because the combat, just think of it like rock paper scissors a little bit, where they do something, you try to, well, essentially you're playing rock paper scissors, you want to kind of peek at what they're about to do and then do something that counters it, right? Which you have to, well, you just have to play and get used to, but that's essentially what it is. And there's, so like these skills will counter a lot of other skills, just because, you know, to like get out of sticky situations, because people essentially they're trying to combo you and you're trying to not get comboed, and then you're trying to combo them back. So that's what all these are for. So that's what I mean by rock paper scissors. And then these so yeah, this is like pretty much your most important skill. I actually should upgrade it, but I don't have, I have to farm it, so I can't get it. But yeah, so there's that. And then free morph. So this is the skill you get from our buddy Tianqing, or Qianying, sorry, my bad, I forgot his name. And this is, you just use the first part of it. You only use the first kick, because once they get kicked in the air, you can start it's like continuing your combo, essentially. See, it says itself, it's a combo technique. So yeah. And then the last thing that's really important, you should have one of these. You need to have one of these. So either this one or Talon Strike, okay? Because once you get to a higher rank, they will be trying to block or deflect most of your attacks. If you see that happening, use these skills, okay? Because these break through both of them. They break through deflects and blocks, and it deals a massive amount of endurance or chi damage. So please. So because yeah, that's pretty much what that's for. Like, this is like a counter. It's like if they're playing they're playing paper, this is scissors, okay? So make sure you do this. You bring one of these. I choose Yaksha Rush because it also silences, which is pretty good. I see a lot of people run Talon Strike also, so because that also that reduces defense, so it's also pretty good. So stuff like that, and then another thing, there is some consumables you can use. I use this. I don't know if it's the best one, but whatever. I use it, and then you can probably also use some other ones like increase max HP, whatever. It's up to you if you want to or not, but probably would want to use. This one's not bad either. Interrupt resistance is not bad either. Yeah, so, but I use this personally because, oh, I wonder what the, yeah, anyways, so I would use Restoration Strip, and then when you're queuing up and playing, and you're actually playing against an opponent, I would strafe to the left or right, okay? Because when you're doing that, a lot of their skills will miss. Like, it's actually crazy how many skills will miss just by doing that. So, because I don't run away from my opponent, really. I'll dodge away and stuff like that, but I try not to, like, run away. I'll, like, walk to the side most of the time and going forward, essentially, is what I do. But if you do that, 9 times out of 10, out of 10, they will miss you. Especially Twin Blades. If you have trouble with Twin Blades, walk to the side and then also, you know, dodge. Make sure you're dodging. You can also hold block, but like I said, just strafing to the side, you're gonna have so much easier time, and then you just need to watch them, make sure that if you see them start charging at you, stuff like that, yeah, I would hold the block button. So that's what I would do. And then once you block, go into your own, okay? You know, do your own combo.
破元，
So
海
for
瑞凤，
strategic,
此
what I
为
usually do is
方圆之法。
I'm pretty
无
sure.
尽天地仇。
Okay, so like I was showing, or I don't remember if I said this. You get hyper armor using the Q. So you have to know your combo starters. So for me, the combo starter would
破元
be this. Oh,
海
sorry.
瑞凤，
So for
破元
strategic,
海瑞凤，
that was the combo starter. I would, you know, just switch weapons. Well, I would switch and then I would use free morph, but I can't really recover my vitality right now, so I can't demonstrate it, but I did it the first time. I would extend the combo by using free morph, and then
精神
the charge.
天
I
涯
let
刺
the。charge go all the way.
哈
And,
呵呵
yeah, so and that dealt a massive amount of damage. So usually you don't need to do that much. Like, these people's health bars are not that big, okay? Except if they're a tank, then yes, it is pretty big. But even then, you can chip away at them. So it'll just take longer than normal, but you can chip away at them. So that's what I would do. And if there's any other questions, you can always ask me.